Hey everybody, Nick here, and today we're going to do a little disassembly and maintenance on this little guy right here. This is the Civivi Knives McKenna in Damascus steel. So let's pop this guy apart, see what we're doing. It is a beautiful morning here in the neighborhood. I am just doing this to start the day, so to speak. Actually, not so far off of a review on this guy. What the heck? Oh, it's doing that thing again where it's like the pivot itself is a screw, where they've put the screw down portion on the non-rotating part, and then you rotate the barrel to, okay, whatever. I can work with this, I suppose. Go ahead and pop this loose here, and hopefully this will come all apart. Things should be straightforward from here. Hoping this is going to be a pretty straightforward disassembly generally. Come on now. We have a second little pin right up there, but aside from that, this should be... just going to use a little plastic spudgy here to lift that off of there. Lift this off of here. There we go. Again, I'm not applying too much force here. You never want to apply too much force in a situation like this one. And there we go. We are loose. What this will allow me to do then is to get to the blade and to these bearings. So what we can see here are a couple of things. Did I thank my patrons for this one? I did not. This is a knife that... actually, my buddy Nehemiah first lent me the regular vanilla version, the non-Damascus steel version over here. He's metal effort. You should check him out. But anyways, he lent me that guy, and then I, handled it. And a bunch of people were saying, "Oh, Nick, you need to check out the Damascus steel one, or the Damascus one, that is. It's not Damascus steel brand. It's so much better." And, okay, well... if I'm not going to do that, who is, really? Then I have the opportunity to do so, so I went ahead and I placed an order for one of the Damascus steel ones, figuring, okay, hey, why not, right? And so, yeah. I forget what I was even saying. Oh, yeah, I was just thanking my people who just allow me to, do that, right? Allow me to randomly go ahead and place an order for a $90 knife, just like, yep, better do that. It's a freedom. And it's one that I do appreciate. All I'm doing here is cleaning out the bearing race on this guy. We can see a couple of interesting things here. We can see that they have not etched the, they've not put the Damascus steel etching inside this little area here, and they have in fact not etched the detent ball path, which is a beautiful thing as well. We can also see, however, that the pattern welding, you can just barely see it, the pattern welding persists even in that unetched area. And in fact, the pattern welding, you'll see, persists even in this. I'll see if I can show it off here. Zoom in a little bit. See right there, along the back of the tang here, you can still see the lines. Yeah, that means this is actually pattern welded. This is actually a Damascus style steel rather than being a laser engraving or something like that. Very often, people will see Damascus blades, and, you'll get one of two things on the less expensive end, that is. What you'll either have are steels that are not actually Damascus at all, where it's just a normal, surgical stainless or whatever, because it tends to be shady companies doing this anyways. But you will get a surgical stainless blade that's nothing to write home about, that is not remotely pattern welded, and instead is simply just somebody's used like a laser engraver to go through and engrave what looks like a Damascus pattern on it. And so that's one possibility. The other possibility, which is just as ugly, frankly, is when they will combine two bad steels to make one pattern welded steel. This is, and I don't want to cast aspersions on an entire country, but unfortunately this is one of the specialties of the country of Pakistan in the current knife industry meta, so to speak. There is a lot of bad Damascus coming out of that area. Some of it is absolutely gorgeous, but it's made of steels that, if you combine two steels together that aren't very good, you end up with one steel steel, that ain't very good, right? So anyways, it's nice to see, though, that there is a, this is actually Damascus, and we also know, just partly on the basis of the on the polish and whatnot, but we know, what little we know about this steel, we know to be actual, it's based on a 9CR, which is, certainly not super high-end or anything like that, but you know what? It does the trick, right? So, going ahead, I'm using some Nano Oil here, and if you're curious about any of the tools that I'm using for this or any other disassembly, go to nickshabazz.com/tools. You'll see a full listing of everything I'm using here. But yeah, I'm just going ahead and lubricating here. I'll lubricate the detent ball, which is ceramic, by the way. So that's nice. And pop all this back together. Let's make sure I haven't left anything out. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and pop. Nope. Problem is, once you have everything closed up, then everything can pop back together, or pop back more apart, because there's more spring tension in the system. Right now, this ain't quite right. This needs to be seated down deeper in there, so let me use a tool to seat it, so to speak. This little pin right here. I'll just press this down, and hopefully that will... Here. I'll take the tension out of the system there. Interesting. That seems to have popped itself a little bit loose. And because the... Not quite sure why that's not wanting to seat itself. That's not great. Well, sometimes you need a little bit more in the way of compressive force to do this. Let me try one more time with a little bit more pointed pressure. All right. Yeah, that's putting up against the edge of the pressure I want to put onto it at the moment. Let's go ahead and just take this guy quickly back apart. Come on. Can I pop it through this time? Maybe it's just kind of hung up on the G10 here. There we go. So now I pop that in place. Now when I push everything into position, everything should seat. Come on, seat. Ah, damn, it's seating the other side. So it feels like it's just a tight fit on the liner there, and I lost a bearing. That's an important detail as well. Okay, you go here. Can I push you into the bearing from this side? Or into the liner on the other side there? Why does this not want to go into that hole? I don't know. So here's what we're going to do. I am sort of... Yeah, if I push this here, then this doesn't want to fully seat. But unfortunately, there's not a cutout, the G10 here for it. So what I'm actually going to want to do here is... let's get everything else seated. Let's get the back spacer in place. Let's get all of this on here. I could try and just use this G10 to push it into position. But honestly, I don't think that's a great plan. Because... that's using screws in a way I don't want them to be used. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to put this little bit of cloth on here. I'm going to use these little, adjustable pliers here. And if I target myself correctly here, there we go. All it needed was a little bit of squeeze there, and that popped that into position, and we're all good to go. That's something, there was not a lot of squeeze there. I mean, that wasn't something where I was really putting force into it, because again, like I said, you don't ever want to resort to brute force. But sometimes, well, you need to apply some pressure, right? That's just the way of life sometimes. Okay. So awkwardly, this guy is the... I'm going to go ahead and put some Loctite here. And then I'll go ahead and seat this screw, and I'll start to screw it in a little bit, but it has a, as you saw earlier, it has a little shelf on there that needs to interact with the shelf on in the handle scale there for everything to seat well. And I'm going to go ahead and release the lock bar tension on this guy just to allow. There we go. So this is now fitting fully flush, which means that it's in the right position there. Then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and pop in that back screw. Put you back over here. One thing to keep in mind, you know, that's becoming apparent to me after this disassembly is that there is a, this is going to be a pretty easy knife to rescale. What I mean by that is that it shouldn't be too hard to generate a new set of G10 or micarta or whatever scales that would fit this little guy. And, oh, that's good. That's real good. Yeah, this shouldn't be hard to rescale at all. And so, as a result, yeah. There will probably be a flourishing aftermarket for scales for this knife. All right, let's check the check for blade play. No blade play. Centering is favoring the show side very slightly. There we go. No blade play. We are pretty much dead centered. And we're good to go. Beautiful. Well, there you go. I hope this has been interesting to you, and that you have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.